Rudy, 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 Rudy.
I didn't even think about that one.
It came to me after I watched the episode and I was hanging out with Miss Nighthawk, and I was like, oh yeah, Rudy. I think that's how I'm going to start the show. That's how I'm going to
Uh,
start the show.
I like, I
Because
like.
you know what? Yeah, because I'm just saying, I mean, you don't really want to fully root for this Rudy, but maybe at first you
Yeah,
feel bad
that's
for him.
true. It's true. I have to admit though that for me, I had like all this. Feed me Seymour, feed me all night long.
Yeah, there's a little aspect of that too. There's a little aspect because I mean, the episode is called "Feeding Time" for Christ's sake. So, but welcome everybody to DC Fan-imated stream. I am of course Dave the Film Junkie. With me as always, Mr. Scott McClellan. How's it going?
It's going okay. I'm going to go ahead and fully admit I'm buzzing a little bit right now.
Are you?
Oh yeah, yeah. Kids are with various grandparents, so Heather and I actually went and had dinner in kind of like in a early anniversary dinner. Our anniversary is in 2 weeks,
Nice.
so we kind of splurged tonight. And dude, I had a martini tonight. That was nice.
Shaken, not stirred.
It was a ginger martini.
Oh, interesting.
Grey Goose vodka, Grand Marnier, and a liqueur with an orange twist.
Nice. Sounds delicious.
It was.
Wow.
And then of course I also got to finish off my wife's Pinot Noir because she drank as much as she was going to. I was like, you can drink the rest of that.
I got it. Yeah, you don't let it go to waste. Never let alcohol go to waste.
Never.
And I love of course the lighting is fitting for this week. We got
I'm working this, man. I got this new setup going, and I'm working it. I mean, this show has made me finally commit to I need YouTuber lighting. Like this must happen.
Yes, no, it works. And it's funny because obviously the last week we talked about A Little Piece from Home, which was our kind of introduction, or at least for Superman, to kryptonite. And of course you had the green lighting. And it's funny too, because going into this episode, I mean, we just came off of kryptonite sucking the energy out of Superman. Now he has to deal with a dude that does it. This has been a rough couple episodes for good old Soupy.
But you know what? I love the continuity, and I don't mean to be. I don't want to just jump into the episode, but I love the continuity that when it starts, we're back at Star Labs. Dr. Hamilton has another piece of kryptonite from somewhere. They never really explain where this piece of kryptonite comes from, but that's okay. I'll roll with it. And but it introduces something that we'll see a lot in the series, which is the anti-kryptonite suit.
Exactly. And I was thinking the exact same thing. And I mean, that's the start of the episode right here. We're back at Star Labs. We have Superman. We have Professor Hamilton that is basically testing out like, okay, so here, but that is interesting. I didn't really think about that. So I'm glad you actually brought that up. I was like, yeah, I didn't think about it. Where did they get this piece of kryptonite? Well, I mean,
I'm going to headcanon and wave it around thinking that, at the end of A Little Piece of Home, Lex Luthor was, of course, looking for kryptonite. There's nothing to be said that Star Labs wouldn't do the exact same thing.
Yeah. And that's cool that they found it. They found a good chunk, but I mean, they had obviously the beginning of this episode sets up the end of the episode.
Yes.
So it's a good way to like how they just kind of go like, all right, we're foreshadowing something for right here. So yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, let's not look too much into it. They got kryptonite. They're testing out a suit. It's great. And like you said, we'll see the suit and further, obviously when it comes to the series, and even more than that probably. And then we even have the spacesuit.
I know. I was like, and I love how they never draw attention to it. It's just there.
It's an Easter egg. I mean, or it's sorry, not well, it's an Easter egg, but it's like something like, okay, we know that we're gonna
Superman
see
has a spacesuit.
He has a spacesuit. I mean, let's face it. I mean, we're gonna see him wear something like that. But it is a good way to start it. And then when we get our introduction, of course, to Mr. Rudy Jones, and again, you do kind of feel bad for him because he's just a janitor at Star Labs.
Yeah. Is he okay? I have a question, and I want to be very careful with this. But is he a little special?
I would say so. I think I got that sense. Yeah, that's why you feel for the guy,
right? It's just kind of like, oh, you're not. Oh, you don't
Mm,
have all your capability. Like, it's not just like he's a, he's just sort of down on his luck. It's like, I guess just the way. And by the way, do you know who voices Rudy?
I don't.
Okay. Now, I'm going to be completely fair. I didn't know either. I had to look at the credits. And then even when I saw the name, I had to look the name up. I'm
Okay.
going to be completely, but once I looked the name up, it is so fitting that we're watching this episode today.
Oh boy, I'm
Okay.
excited.
So we're going to go slight tangent, but we're going to go down the rabbit hole like I like to
We
do.
have to. We have to.
Okay.
Anytime it comes to voices.
All right. So the voice of Rudy Jones is Brian James.
Brian James. Okay.
Okay. Do you want to look him up, or do you want me to tell you who he is?
Well, you could tell, and I just want to get a picture of him. But the
Okay.
thing is, it's pulling up some kind of singer. So
Okay.
Brian
Well,
James is
Brian
pretty.
with an O, not an A. Brion.
Oh, okay.
James. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
He played Leon in Blade Runner.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. Okay. Oh, yeah. 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 This guy, if you look at his face, you've seen him in many, many things. He was
Right.
also
He
in
was also
Fifth
General
Element.
Monroe in The Fifth Element.
Yes, Fifth Element. Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, he's been in so many things. Yeah, he's got a recognizable face.
Oh,
So,
absolutely
okay.
recognizable face. Well, do you know why it's appropriate?
Why?
Today is the 41st anniversary
Oh,
of the release of Blade Runner.
that's right. I did see that on the timeline. There you go. It's all just
And
lining up.
Leon was a special replicant too, if you remember
Mhm.
that movie. In which, by the way, if y'all haven't seen the original Blade Runner, shame on you. Go
Yes. Watch
watch
it
Blade
now
Runner.
or
What?
wait about 40 minutes.
Wait 40 minutes, then go watch Blade Runner. And as I always like to recommend, watch the final cut.
Yes.
That was Ridley Scott's definitive version.
Yes. That's yeah, that's what's been yeah, because you have your choice, but
Or you have
that's
like
the
5
best one.
choices.
Yeah, you have your choice, but choose that one. I would agree with Scott that that is the definitive version, of course. But okay, so we got a voice right there. Cool. I was wondering because I was like, there's something familiar about it, but of course I was
There's
like, oh
another
wait.
voice, by the way.
Okay, is it Mr. Marty LeBeau here or no?
Yes, it
It
is.
is. Okay, his voice sounded familiar too. Who is it?
You didn't know?
Nope.
It's Robert Patrick.
It's Robert Patrick. Good old T1000 himself.
I know, right?
I knew it's see, and that's one of those things where I was like, when it came to the voices, I was like, I already know. I'm like, but I'm not gonna look because we like to talk about it on the show. So that was Robert Patrick. Wow.
I know. I had no idea,
That's funny.
man. And
That's
I just
crazy.
looked at that going, you are kidding me.
I know it's pretty crazy. Thank you, Mike H, for the $2 super chat. Cheers, cheers to you, sir. Got some beer right here.
Yeah, I'm not drinking
Yeah,
anymore
yeah.
right now.
Scott's had a martini and some wine, so he's good right now. But so of course, yeah, I mean, so we got Rudy on the forklift and he's loading up some obviously big barrels of chemicals because we see the logo on there and everything. And yeah, again, it's like, yeah, I mean, it's sad. I mean, he seems a little slow. I mean, obviously he's always, if you know any history of yeah, he's always been like not the best person, obviously, but they really kind of emphasize that he just is like he's just trying to get by. He's a custodian. He just wants to do his job, but of course, obviously, he got swayed by Mr. LeBeau here to steal some of these chemicals for profit, and obviously, he's not doing a good job too when it came to trying to be sneaky when it comes to loading up these chemicals.
Yeah, and I think it really plays it for me was the guards
Yeah.
being like, "Hey, Rudy,
Yes.
did you get your off?" It was almost like, "Good for you." It's like,
Uh-huh.
wow. It's kind of that encouraging, but also just a little condescending, almost like. But the guards are like, "Oh, good. Oh, you're a big
Rudy did it. Yeah.
Rudy did it."
Yeah. They really do emphasize that, don't they? Yeah,
Yeah,
with
they
the guard.
really do.
Yeah, poor guy. And then so then obviously this is all happening while Superman is with Professor Hamilton. So then when things go awry and the guards realize, okay, wait a minute, there's something wrong here, and they're getting away in a truck. They obviously Superman, the alarm gets triggered. Superman goes into action. But this is what it was kind of cool too. It's like one of those things where, well, he's like up in the air, he sees the truck, but guess what? Everything's like on fire. There's about people that are going to be torched. Naturally, Superman is going to save the people as opposed to chasing after the guys with the chemicals. And I like how he does it too. I like the way that he gets the flames out.
Oh yeah, reaching into the wall, basically grabbing a water main and using that like a fire hose to like
I thought that was
wash
cool.
everything down. Yeah. Also,
Yeah.
that shot of him walking through the fire. Oh,
Yeah.
there's a reason that's in the opening title sequence because that's a money shot right there.
Totally. No, I agree. But so he gets all that. But then when we get to them in the truck, and Rudy's in the back. He's in the bed of the truck. Marty is driving, and then of course, he's not driving. He's not driving like a good driver. And yeah, bump happens, and Rudy falls into the bed, and one of the barrels, of course.
Oh, this is terrifying.
It's a horror movie.
Oh my god, is it a horror movie? And it's weird too because this feels more like this does not feel like the origin traditionally of a Superman villain. This is more the origin of like a Batman villain or a Spider-Man villain because Spider-Man villains or Batman villains, it's always the horrible accidents that
You're right.
that create them, which is once again something kind of cool. What the writers and creators on this show did was they gave a little bit more depth and gravitas to Superman's rogues gallery because like I said, he has some cool villains, but they've always been kind of one dimensional, kind of villains.
Exactly.
And so giving Rudy making Rudy kind of sympathetic, giving him a theme, the oppressed, the powerless, who becomes the ultimate power suck, is a great thematic twist for the character. But dude, this transformation sequence is
Yeah, I was like, I mean, look at Amazing Spider-Man 2 when it came to Electro. It's almost like, I mean, obviously he wasn't like obsessed with Spider-Man, but it's like that guy that's like you feel bad for because he's socially awkward and everything, and then something bad happens, and then it turns him into this powerful like being. There's like a little bit right there, but yeah, I know it's just this scene right here where like the chemicals just start, and he's just being consumed by them, and even like Marty's like, what the hell's happening back there, and sees him, but then does a little maneuver where he skids out. Marty, or not Marty, but Rudy goes like flying out over the bridge and just lands on the ground. But I mean, it's that dramatic, like the hand, kind of thing. That just,
it's like his skin is
yes.
melting.
Yes.
Oh my god.
And I'm saying, just to not, not to take it to the live action stuff, but when James Gunn posted on Twitter that some of his favorite underrated villains, and the first one was Parasite, I was like, do it. I mean, like, he doesn't have to be the main. I mean, it seems like Brainiac is probably going to be the main since they've tried to do it 4 fucking times before. But have Parasite in there. Why not? I mean, add a little bit of a horror. I mean, just the fact of the matter is you have kryptonite, which is always what people have to use. It's always what Lex uses against Superman, Batman, and of course. But I mean, just to have a villain that actually, when touched, he just sucks the freaking energy out of him too. And I'm like, it could just be cool to see in live action, to be honest.
Well, and then like you said, play up the horror element. Make it creepy. I mean, I wish this kind of the horror thing kind of continues a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
We'll get to that with like, I've got Superman in my basement, but that could be totally played up like a Black Phone kind of, situation. They would never do that, but I'm telling you, like, that's the movie, like, I would love to see.
I didn't even think about that, like a Black Phone. That would be interesting. But yeah, so obviously that happens, and And then we see like a creepy little moment where obviously there's like a rat that shows up and starts like sniffing him, and then he just grabs the rat, and then they give you that whole this is what he is now kind of thing real quick, which is like he touches the rat and obviously he's like and you're like, okay, what the hell's happening right there? He's killing the rat. I mean, again, that's pretty dark. Like when you see like him grab that, you're like, what the hell's going on with the rat? And yeah, I mean, before we actually kind of know, like, oh, he just absorbed the energy. Obviously, we go back to the crime scene where well, yeah, Superman finds like the substance and he touches it and he's just like, what the hell is this kind of thing? And but yeah, when we get back to and again, keeping with the horror element, we got like a cop where I guess her name was Edna, right?
No,
Yeah.
Edna was the
No,
dispatcher.
that's the dispatcher. That's right. I was like, she didn't look like an Edna, but I was like, I didn't pause and rewind that. So, but yeah, she sees Rudy coming out like a freaking monster, just walking on the road, just like
Very Frankenstein's monster deal. Like that was the imagery I had.
you're right. That is a pretty Frankenstein because he is very just kind of thing, and
Right.
then yeah, he has a rat still in his hand, and he just kind of throws it. It's like it's still alive though. They make sure, like, oh, no,
Oh
it's
no,
not
it's
dead.
twitching.
Yeah,
It's twitching. I noticed that too. I was like,
yeah.
oh, you copped out. I
Yeah, you
mean,
can't. Yeah, they can't go. They can't make it. It's still a kids show, guys.
yeah,
You can't
no
make it where he
animated
actually
rats were harmed in the production of.
exactly. You can't suck the entire life. It's not Shang Tsung from Mortal Kombat. You can't suck everything out where it's just
Fatality.
yeah, exactly. It's not one of those. So they do show that, but then of course Rudy like, touches her and then of course does the same thing. So we get an idea for anybody who didn't know the character that what he is actually is doing. So and I mean, and I like how he said like, how the heck did I get Edna or something like that? He said
Right,
that like
because when
yeah.
he gets on the radio and he talks to Edna. By the way, did you recognize the voice of Edna?
No.
It's Andrea Romano.
Oh shit. Nice.
Yeah, I always love it when Andrea would do like
Yeah.
these little one-off things. She's always someone on the TV. She's always on the radio. I
Why
love
not?
it. But yeah, it was Andrea Romano.
That's awesome.
But no, and he even starts talking in the officer's voice. Once again, this wonderful show don't tell. Do they later explain Parasite's powers? Yeah, but they didn't need to because they just showed us him using his powers and how he was kind of out of it, and then he wakes up and then he sucks her energy, and then she where did I get Edna? So he has her memories. He can mimic her voice. It's a cool thing because sometimes with Parasite, they don't go all the way like this. Sometimes it's really just, oh, I get his power.
Yeah.
I'm hungry. Or of course, when he touches Superman, he gets Superman's powers. But this idea of like literally absorbing like the ability to talk like the person, I think that's cool.
And I mean, it's so funny because I was like, that's Terminator vibes. And now we just
Yes.
figured out that like Robert Patrick is the voice of Marty. That's pretty funny,
Your
right there.
parents are dead.
Yeah. Your foster parents are dead. Yeah, I know. I mean, it just gives you like those vibes right there. But that's cool though. I like how again they took the character and like, oh, we need something here. It can't just be this. Let's add a little bit here. And it works. It absolutely works. And I mean, I'm sure like when it came to future iterations, they probably had so because I like the fact that he can absorb even the memories also. I think that's
Yeah,
the
and that's
memories
been
and thoughts.
something, that's been,
Yeah,
and I don't know. I would assume that's actually something that pre-existed before the animated
probably.
series. But once again, Parasite was one of those characters that I mean, my introduction to Parasite was this animated series. Like
Yeah.
Parasite was not a character I was familiar with. So
Yeah. Just like a lot of us. And then the next day we're back to the crime scene and we got Jimmy, of course, taking his pictures as he does. And obviously we see the officer being taken away on a stretcher. We got Clark there as well as of course, she's still alive. And then of course Jimmy makes an awful Barney joke.
oh my God, is that so 90s? Like
Oh,
that was one of those things that was like, no, don't
don't do that.
don't make a topical reference because now you've got
You dated
You
yourself.
dated yourself. No.
Yeah, because they talk about like, oh, yeah, she saw like some big purple monster, and of course, like he makes a Barney joke, and it's like, oh, Jimmy, you tried. It worked. You might as well just started singing the freaking song. But I mean, I guess it was
I
obvious.
love you.
Yeah.
You love me.
Oh, good God. Isn't there supposed to be like a movie, something coming
There
out?
is something, and like
Who
that's
knows?
the real villain.
But
That's
I
the,
think, but I think it wasn't. I think it might be one of those like like remember when we heard, wait, they're gonna do a movie on Tetris, and it was like, no, it's the making of Tetris. I think when it comes to Barney, it's gonna be about making Barney. It's not gonna be a full on Barney like is the main character. I think it's gonna be one of those. At least I
okay.
hope. I'm assuming. I just remember seeing something out there and going, I don't know. Okay, but I'm assuming it's going to be something with that. Anyways, there's a tangent right there because of good old Jimmy Olsen and his Barney joke. So yeah, but we also get another, and this is one of the things that I've been liking is Clark still going, hey, you're Clark Kent right now. Don't touch the radioactive substance.
Oh God, I love it when Commissioner Henderson's like, you might not want to touch that, and he's like,
Yeah.
oh right, yeah,
Yeah. But I love that. Again, it's still Clark just going, he's like forgetting that, oh yeah, this is a substance I touched before. Let me see if it's like maybe feels like the same or whatever. No, Clark, you are no, Superman, you're Clark Kent right now, okay? You cannot touch this stuff in front of people because they're going to be like, why is that not affecting you? Kind of thing. So, I like that. I do like that.
yeah. It's subtle. Like once
Subtle.
again, they don't spend a lot of time. It's just oh right, and then moving on, and I
Uh-huh.
like it.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. It's good little details. I like those good little details right there. And then we get back to Marty's apartment. Yeah, Mr. LeBeau is still alive, still sleazy. And then of course Rudy shows up, and he's in fully formed now. He's like he's
Where'd the
good.
costume come from? Where'd the costume come from? Like,
I have
I
no idea.
no idea, no clue. Like what is
They
that?
skip it. They
What
skip it.
I know
Well,
they skipped right over it.
yeah, they skip right over it. I mean, obviously, when we first saw him, he was all just kind of like looking like a monster and kind of melty and drippy. Now, I mean, I guess he has absorbed some enough power, or maybe he was able to like shape himself because obviously now he's like in a stature of like like Superman. But then, of course, he's got like this get up that's going across because he can't be naked. I guess if that's what they're going for.
That's what
Yeah,
I thought, man.
yeah. I
And
mean,
also,
it's
and also, you
stylish.
needed some line, and just design wise, you needed
Yeah.
some lines to break up all the purple.
Yeah, there you go. And white, it's good. It's good. It
It's good
works.
contrast.
It's a good contrast to the purple. So, but and now he's and we get that arc of a villain or whatever, like is just the fact that it's like, all right, the guy who made me this way, who was, treating me like a doormat, I'm gonna get back at him. And of course that whole speech is there, like, remember me? It's I'm no longer, he gives that little speech right there, which it's a common trope when it comes to all this stuff. But hey, Marty's a piece of shit. What can we say?
Yeah, no one's feeling bad about him, getting snacked on at
No,
all.
no. But that's what's funny is like when we, yeah, like you said with the whole Seymour and feed me kind of thing. I mean, it does get to the point where it's like, all right, now he has to feed, and I like the fact that they use that again. It brings the horror element because yeah, he's feeding, but they could have said like he's absorbing or whatever the heck. But the fact that it says feeding just adds a little bit more. Ugh, element. It's a little
What they
shiver.
needed,
Uh,
to if they really want to do the harm limit, and I think they've done this before, but you need like the like well, like what they did with Morbius on the Spider-Man cartoon when they couldn't have him biting anybody, but they had like the
right. Yes.
suckers
Yeah.
on
On
his
his hand.
hands.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. But I guess the electricity thing was like, all right, we'll go with that. Like
Well,
it's
because
like,
he's absorbing their energy.
yeah,
That
so
yeah.
yeah, it does make, but yeah, I mean live action. I mean, obviously there's been live action versions. I saw the image of Supergirl that they had, and that looked like it, it almost looked like who am I it almost looked like the lizard from Amazing Spider-Man, but purple esque. I don't know if you ever seen that image of what they did with a live action. Obviously it was all CGI for Supergirl. I was like, well, That's an attempt. It's an attempt.
Yeah, and then like I said, they did a completely different variation of Parasite on Superman and Lois season 2.
That's
So
right. You did say you talked about that. So, okay. So then, of course, we got Rudy. Of course, is just as that's all happening, he's kind of toying with him, like touching him a little bit, and just kind of going like, because obviously Rudy just wants to be a total douchebag back to Marty, which of course we don't care. But Superman does show up. And I like how he says, like, I don't know, Superman. It's like I turned it to some kind of monster, something like that. There's like that whole,
well,
what are you?
he's playing
Yeah,
up the can you help me?
yeah.
It's like I'll go with you, Superman. He's acting he's acting like the poor victim right before he just grabs a hold of Superman. And there's always that classic Parasite feeds the Superman for the first time, and he's just like, "What the hell is this?"
Oh, it's kind of sexual if you think about it.
It's not even sexual to me. It's more like a drug addict who gets his first hit.
Yeah, but it was just like when you see both of them, they're both going, "Oh," it's like that. I was like,
God,
kind of sexual. That's where my brain. I know I'm a child. I'm a child. Damn it. Sorry. I'm just saying. What? I might have rewound it like 3 times because I was like, oh man, this is anybody else hard. Anyways, okay, so that's what I bring to the show, Scott.
This is what you bring to the show. Yes, it is. Very much is.
Yeah. All right. So, but yeah, we get that first. Yeah, where he gets Superman's energy, and it's obviously like you said. Yeah, forget my jokes. It's more like it's a drug addict getting that fix that he needed. Well, it's getting the first fix of that, if you think about it.
Yes.
He's been having like this drug of just absorbing energies, which has like been great, but to absorb like the ultimate, like Superman, where then he could just fly away. Yeah, that's gonna he was just immediately like, this is like amazing right here. So I mean, power to him, literally.
I know, right? And then like Superman's like hanging on to the bottom of the pier, like in the water, and all the. I will admit, though, just as a slight criticism, it was really weird having the scene, 1, in broad daylight, and 2, just all those people standing around, like, just watching it happen. It was a little awkward for me personally, but,
It's all right. But, yeah, I mean, again, it's like, damn, like, poor Superman. He already, a piece of rock was, like, doing this to him, and now he's got a dude that can, like, he can't. So it's like, I can't even touch this guy because then I'm just going to get drained. So, oh man, that just sucks. And then of course we go right into like just a news report. Obviously, we see a news report of Rudy just going on a rampage, and they talk to Professor Hamilton, who gives, of course, the exposition of what's pretty much happening when it comes to his powers. Which I thought, okay, if they're obviously we know what he's doing, we can kind of follow along, but they have to still fit something in there just to be like, here's the technical aspect.
Here's the technical babble.
Yeah.
Here, because you had to explain what the chemical was that they were stealing and why is it having this effect on Rudy.
There you go. And it's a good little explanation. It fits right there. I thought it was a good spot for it. And then it's kind of cool because it's kind of funny again, because now we got Clark at the Daily Planet who's got a cold, and we saw him sick last time because of the kryptonite. Now he's sick again, and he's just like, she's again. It's like, damn it! It's like one of those. He just almost have a relapse. Of course, we don't know the time frame in between, but it's fairly close, probably. But there's probably a few weeks at least. But,
oh yeah, because you got to think you have to have enough time for Hamilton and Star Labs to A, found another piece of kryptonite, and then B, build the anti-kryptonite suit.
But at least when it comes to public and being with, when it comes to Clark, he could show that it's like, yeah, I'm not just, I get sick, guys. Look at me. I'm not Superman.
There's a little bit. I'm sorry. Oh my God. I just had this thought. Forgive me for bringing this up, but it's almost like that scene in Superman 4, The Quest for Peace. Like after Nuclear Man gets Clark. And he's all like, in his apartment, like in the blankie, all snotty and stuff. I just had that thought pop into my head because I don't know
I
why I always remember that scene from Superman 4.
Well, they wanted to show that, hey, he could be, vulnerable, I guess you could say. It's funny too, because what popped in my head as I was talking about that right now was Lois and Clark. Remember when it got really hot? There was like a heat wave that was happening in Metropolis, and obviously in the Daily Planet, everybody was just like barely wearing anything. They're all sweating,
Yes, I
but
remember
not
that
Clark,
episode.
And I'm just like, dude, you should really try to like figure it out where you are acting like, because everybody's going to be like, why? I mean, they even say like, why are you sweating? And he's full on in his suit and everything, and he's looks okay, and everybody else is half naked and fucking sweating their asses off. And I don't know why that just popped in my head, because I think it's just because right then and there I would have been somebody Daily Planet. You're Superman. If you're not sweating,
No,
you're
they were
bald
too
off.
busy. They were too busy looking at Terry Hatcher. That's
Oh
the
yeah,
complete explanation.
exactly. Terry Hatcher, and then what's her name too? I forget what the
Oh,
other
because if it was season 1, that actress who played Cat Grant
Cat Grant. There it is. Yes. I
oh
couldn't remember
god,
her
yeah,
name.
that actress.
Oof.
Oof.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know why that just popped in my head right now, because it's like, but again, it just helps Clark blend. That's where I was getting at right there. But yeah, so he's of course fighting that, and then so then he's fighting a cold, and then Rudy, of course, is doing his thing, just going on his rampage, and then this is where we start getting to the fact that, oh wait, he's gonna need to feed more, and I think he obviously he's learning his powers too as he goes along, and he's looking in a bank, a bank, and he's looking at the safe through the wall, but then all of a sudden, the X-ray vision goes away, so he needs to be fed.
Yes, and then at the same time, the police officer's waking up from her coma in the hospital, and Clark's feeling better. So it's kind of cool because it establishes that there's a time frame, and
Yeah,
and then the clock runs out, and then you heal. It's not like the power is transferring back, but it's like a time period of it wears whatever the effect is, it wears off so
yeah.
that Parasite doesn't have the power anymore, and the person who got their power sucked from them has basically like
Well,
recharged,
Well, I mean,
basically.
yeah, I mean, that's the way that energy works with everything. I mean, obviously, we have to like charge our phones. It doesn't just stay like that. It's got to need more. Same with us. We need to sleep. We need to eat. We need to do all that stuff. So that builds up. So it's cool. But I like how they show that. Yeah, like you said. And then we're back at the hospital room with the police officer, and she's just feeling much better, and then of course Clark is feeling much better, and we even see him in his apartment where he's just basically like saying like, oh yeah, by the way, we don't see a lot of Lois in this freaking episode.
No, actually, we don't see Lois at all in this episode.
No, there's one shot where in the Daily Planet where we do see
Oh,
her.
okay.
Yeah, there was a shot. It's coming up, I think. I don't know, but but I was going, wow. There's like no Lois really in this episode. She doesn't play like a big part at
Oh,
all. But
because as we'll get to Jimmy,
yeah,
gets
the
some.
Jimmy episode.
It's a Jimmy episode, and and this is, and I like the terrible Barney joke aside. Um, it's nice seeing like this is how you can proactively use Jimmy in a Superman story. It doesn't get done often. It doesn't get done well a lot of times, but this is a good one. Like,
It is. It is a good one because I mean, obviously, we get Superman that gets. He was about to just, I don't even know who he's talking to. Maybe he's talking to Lois,
he was
or
talking to Perry.
Perry. That's
He's
who he's
talking to
talking. Yeah,
Perry.
because obviously he was sick, and then he's like, "I'm feeling better. I think I actually might go out tonight." And then of course we see him like do that, but then we have, of course, Rudy shows up, and it's like, because he knew who he was and all, because sucking up his energy and whatnot, and yeah, takes him away. And then we see him, of course, yeah, like you said, it's like Black Phone esque, because he's like, oh, it's Superman chained in my basement kind of thing. Now he's in the basement of Star Labs, and but yeah, kudos to Jimmy, because let's face it, I mean, he's the one that finds Superman, because he kind of starts putting things together after taking pictures and seeing where Parasite goes to after he's done doing things. Like, God, he's going, like, I think it's south or whatever the heck, and he goes,
Yeah, it
that's
was
towards,
south and
yeah,
towards Star Labs.
towards Star Labs. That's the only time that we see Lois, because it's at Daily Planet, Perry's
That's
Pocket, and
right.
she's in
Yes.
the like crowd. That's the only time we actually see Lois. But I think she might say one thing. I don't even know if she says anything, to be honest. But it's all Jimmy, like, talking about that, because obviously we have Superman chained into the basement of Star Labs, and again we see Rudy. It goes that just mimics his voice and says, basically he could keep him down here for as long as possible to keep feeding on him. So, and then of course does a whole villainy kind of like, well, this is my plan kind of thing when it comes to him. But yeah, good on Jimmy. Good on Jimmy for putting that together, because then he's just like, all right, well, I'm gonna go investigate myself, because obviously Perry's like, whatever, kid.
Well, Perry even goes, yeah, the cops thought about that. They looked, they didn't see anything.
Yeah.
But Jimmy, being, the young guy who gets kind of ignored, kind of in a very similar way like Rudy did, he has the idea
Hey.
of, well, let me go follow what Rudy would have done, not what Parasite's doing, but let me check out Rudy, because then he has that idea of going, he talks to the guard at Star Labs, and he just wants to go into the janitor's locker room, in the janitor's closet. And that's really good on Jimmy. And he investigates. And Superman has just enough power left to hear Jimmy. It's convenient as all hell, but we'll go with it.
I mean, he's trying to X-ray, he's trying to do the heat vision to the chains that he's on, but he can't quite get it there. It's like he starts heating them up a little bit. But then, yes, like I said, he hears Jimmy's voice, and then he starts doing the SOS Morse code thing on the pipe. Jimmy hears it, moves the locker back. Oh, there's a maintenance hatch right here. What the hell? And then there, sure enough, find Superman in the basement, as you said.
I'm sorry, I had to reference that terrible Batman the Animated Series episode, but it just worked.
It did. So Jimmy, of course, was gonna try to like get him out of there, and naturally, Rudy's gonna be on his way back, and so Jimmy's gonna have to hide, and this is where we just kind of get to this, where it's like how are you gonna hide from this guy right here? I mean, obviously there's only so much you could do, but luckily Superman is gaining enough power, and Jimmy has helped him with like a crowbar, trying to go at least break some of the links in the chains a little bit, where maybe Superman could do the rest. But I mean, right away when Rudy gets back and he starts taking some, absorbing some of the, starts feeding on Superman, I guess, he like immediately goes like, wait, there's someone here, because obviously, and
He remembers. Yeah.
And I thought that was just like a cool little thing too, is the fact that it's like he knows, starts looking around and sees where he is, because obviously he has the X-ray vision. But then we get Superman that does help him out and throws like one of those hook chain, whatever the heck that thing is that you find in those places. What is that called?
I really don't know what that's called,
because it's like a hook that's on cables, and it's you put, I mean, it's almost like a cherry picker kind of thing,
yeah,
something like that, but not quite that. I don't know. But so then, of course, we have Jimmy that's gonna have to get out, and Superman's gonna have to try to save him without actually touching him. And then, I mean, this is pretty much where we're getting at right here when it comes to the clip. Let's go to the clip.
Go to the footage.
Go to the footage.
Tape.
There he is, right there. We got a busted pipe right there. That's of course causing some steam. But here we go. The chain, Superman. There you go. Get Jimmy, and I love this. It's Jimmy.
I love it how he's running fast, but not as fast as he could be running.
Exactly, and then tells everybody to get out of there. And this asshole. He's so mad. He punches the corner of the wall. And then we got Superman with a little laser gun. I love that.
Well, because he went to the weapons testing lab,
right?
Playing hide and seek now? Come on, Ken. This is beneath you.
They're the suits.
I know.
So cool. And dramatic.
Because I also love the fact that Superman's hiding in
Yeah, I
that
know.
suit. Huh?
Exactly. Got him.
And I think this is so smart. I mean, why else introduce this suit at the beginning of this episode?
Exactly.
Maybe, but for how long?
How long?
Got a point. Guess I gotta end this quick.
Uh-oh.
Yes.
Uh-oh.
Nice
I love
reminder
this
about
right
what's
here.
there. I also love that like all he needs is a finger.
Just say good night, guys.
Oh no! The switcheroo. Not switcheroo, but distracted. Put the glass back on. Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll keep him here until
cool.
a special service.
And man, and it just cuts real quick. That's the one thing about this episode is, man, it wraps up fast.
It wraps up really fast because they're gonna, and he's so sad and everything. Aw, poor little.
Well, I even like it.
Rudy.
Like he kind of twitches, and Dr. Hamilton goes, "Oh, we're disturbing him." You know,
like you got to treat it. You got to treat this individual, with a little bit of care for sure. But yeah, they basically how it ends. Obviously, we see like a little roach that comes up. He touches it with his finger. It kind of gets a little energy, and then we get that evil smile at the end. It's like, oh,
nice little twist, kind of like the glowing kryptonite rock at the end of last week's episode.
You always got to do that because it's like, oh, is this the last time we're gonna see him? No. Not at all. But no, it's a fantastic episode too. I really enjoyed this. And I'm just saying, I hope that we could see a cinematic live version of this. I think it would I think it would be different. It's time to get more of the Superman rogues gallery out there, as opposed to the bald dude. And that's pretty, and Zod, I guess you could say.
Yeah, Zod and Lex Luthor is really cinematically all we've really gotten of Superman villains.
Yeah, we're gonna get some Brainiac and Parasite in there.
Yeah, and I don't count Basement Brainiac from Superman 3.
That's right. Yeah, we're not counting that one. We're not doing
which
that
gave me nightmares as a child, by the way.
It was creepy. It was creepy. God, it's funny when it comes to Superman 3. I always forget that what's his name was in there. Goddamn, totally drawn a blank. The comedian.
Richard Pryor.
Dude,
I can't forget. I can't forget because you watch Superman 3 and it's a Richard Pryor movie that has Superman in it.
Yeah, exactly. That's what trips me up because I watched Superman 4 more than 3.
Well, because Superman 4, here's my argument. Here's my argument why 4 is actually better than 3. Hot take. Because 4 is actually a Superman movie.
Exactly. That's the thing. That's why, like, when it comes to Superman 3, I don't even know how many times I watched it. Probably not that many because, again, they were just trying to bank on Richard Pryor's success. And they're like, let's put him in a Superman movie. And like you said, it's a Richard Pryor movie, like featuring, the cover. I remember the cover. We see him, Superman flying with Richard Pryor holding on to him. And it's just like, what the hell is this? That's why I'm like, yeah, I didn't watch that one that much because it wasn't that great. I know people give Quest for Peace a lot of shit, but I'm like, I liked Nuclear Man. I don't know about you guys.
No, that's Basement Bizarro. So
pretty much, yeah. They're like, we're not gonna do Bizarro. We're gonna do a He-Man type character with some claws.
Oh my god, you're right. He does have He-Man hair. Oh my
god, that's what I always thought. Me and my brother were like, it's almost like he's He-Man, evil He-Man with some fucking nails to him. That's for sure. So. But yeah, there you go, guys. Parasite right there. Great episode. I like how they started it with showing the suit, and then of course the suit saves Superman's ass at the end, and so does the kryptonite, the very thing that he was, that he got to know in the previous episode, but that ended up saving his ass, which is interesting too. I like that little concept. So just a good episode. What do we got next week?
Okay, next week is the episode The Way of All Flesh.
The Way of All Flesh. Yeah, not ringing any bells. Oh, no. I'm just.
We've already met this character before.
We have The Way of All Flesh. In the Okay. Oh, it's Brainiac.
No,
Oh, no? What is
no.
it?
It's Metallo.
Oh, shit. Okay, so we're actually going to get that episode now.
Yeah,
That doesn't
yeah,
make
because we've
sense.
already met John Corbin.
Yeah, so now we're going to get the okay.
Now he's got to get
Now
turned into.
now it's starting to ring bells. I'm starting to see screenshots from this episode. Like I said, it's been a bit, but yeah, I'm starting to see some screenshots in my head of this episode.
Oh, this episode gets dark.
Oh, I'm sure. Yes, I mean, look at what it's called. Look at what it's titled. You know?
I know. Yeah, it's and I have a feeling I'm going to do a little bit of a deep dive into the illusion of that title because it's a cool title for an episode about the origin of Metallo. So
the first thing I thought about was a Videodrome from James Wood. Long live the new flesh. I don't know. Anytime you say flesh, have you ever seen that movie?
I have not. I know it's Cronenberg, and it's
God. Is it Cronenberg? Oh my God. I mean, just even the cover alone, when you see like somebody like being swallowed up by a TV.
Oh yeah, the cover is.
Oh, dude,
Ooh.
It's very dated, but because they use videotapes, but the videotapes when they show them, the videotapes are breathing is so creepy. Like they're holding them. It's like you see it like it's like, oh, good God, it's Cronenberg with that fucking those guys and their body porn stuff.
It's called body horror, but
body horror, but whatever.
You would go with porn, yeah, you would. Okay,
exactly. But anyways, guys, all right. So you watching that? What was the title again? Sorry,
The Way of All Flesh.
The Way of All Flesh. Watch that, and we'll be covering that next Sunday on DC Fan-imated. So, and thank you guys for spending some time here. Go ahead, send us off, Scott.
Of course, you can find me on Twitter at ScottDC27. You can find my podcast, the DC Squadcast, wherever podcasts can be found, or on Vero, Facebook, YouTube, with the entire network of shows at squadcastmedia.com. I do want to take the opportunity also to plug a couple of podcasts that I guested on this week. Head on over to the 602 Club, where I joined into another review of The Flash, and you can check out that discussion. And dropping today over on the Geek Ultimate Alliance Network, I was on World's Finest True Believers talking about the original comic adventures of The Rocketeer.
Nice. Yeah, check all that out, guys. And of course, I'll see you guys tomorrow on Film Junkie Live at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time to talk about the madness of the last few days. All right, guys, we love you. And thank you for spending some time with us talking some DC animated things. And we will talk to you later.